right, this is Ron of the Ronnie Record Show. I'm without Karen today, my beautiful host, co-hostess, and so I'm flying solo. I'm going to tell you about somebody that I treasure as a forgotten hero of rock and roll. And it's hard to describe because he wasn't a singer, he wasn't a performer. Well, he was a performer. His name is Alan Freed. Many of you probably don't know who Alan Freed is, but Alan Freed actually coined the term rock and roll for this kind of music. And rock and roll been around for quite a long time, but it was a euphemism for sex, or came up in various songs like this one by Roy Brown in about 1946. There's Good Rockin' Tonight. So there are a lot of songs that had rock in it and some had roll in it. Anyway, Alan Freed was a disc jockey who in 1951 fought his boss at a record station in Cleveland and said, I know you play this classical music at night, but in the middle of the night, there are hundreds of teenagers, maybe thousands of teenagers out there listening to a new brand of music. It's really an old style music, but it's new to them. And I want to start playing it because my friend Leo Mintz, who had the biggest record store in Cleveland, noticed that teenagers were buying rhythm and blues. Not their standard fare that was played by their parents, but play rhythm and blues, the precursor to rock and roll. And so Alan finally won this battle, started playing this in the middle of the night, had a 50,000 watt radio station that went to New York and beyond, and he was playing old rhythm and blues, stuff like this. This is Sincerely by the Moonglows. And here you hear, you can imagine teenagers listening to the radio underneath the covers in the middle of the night, playing this old style rhythm and blues. It's the Moonglows doing Sincerely. In fact, on the record label, Alan put his name on there as one of the co-writers. I don't think he was, but he got an extra little money royalties from that. And anyway, he started playing this kind of music. This song became so popular, you may not remember it, Sincerely. I remember it, and it was copied by, I think, the McGuire sisters from other record companies. And he was just so big and popular, he's the one that coined the term, called it rock and roll, the first person actually called this music rock and roll, and became huge, a huge success, all driven by teenagers. Eventually, he had shows that he produced like in Cleveland, New York, all around. This one was in 1955. Had the Moonglows that you're listening to now, the Flamingos, and I think this group. Yeah, that sounds kind of corny to begin with, but this is the Harptones, A Sunny Kind of Love, which, I call this doo-wop. He called it all rock and roll. He really was the first one that put it out there. We've forgotten about him. Many people don't know who Alan Freed was. He had movies. This was Alan Freed's Rock, Rock, Rock. Had a bunch of rock and roll people, Frankie Lyman, Laverne Baker, Chuck Berry. There was a whole movie about him, actually. I think it was called Mr. Rock and Roll. So this is just to show you the extent that this guy was he was huge all over the world. And as his shows became more popular, they were sold out. There was riots. There were thousands of teenagers lined up to get in. Just an amazing phenomena. Here's one of the early performers, Ruth Brown. Again, that old sound coming out of the early 50s. Mama, he treats your daughter mean. I love this song. Anyway, Ruth Brown was very big and all right, big recording artist for Atlantic Records, one of the first on their label. And this is the kind of music that he played in the middle, called the Moondog Show. And he'd howl and he'd beat the phone book, while he's playing, and just one of the first personality wild disc DJs. There was others around, but not as big as he was. Here's another group, the early rhythm and blues group. This is called One Mint Julep by the Clovers. Big early rhythm and blues group. He blames all his troubles on just 1 mint julep. He start drinking in the morning, and pretty soon he's in front of the judge. Pretty humorous song, I think. The Coasters after him probably copied this kind of style. What's that 1 mint julep was the cause of it all. So, Alan Freed, big shows, movies. Just a DJ to me that really started it all. So I just want to honor this guy that you might not have heard of. Maybe you did, you forgot about him. So I'm excited to bring him to you and reach into my vault and play these songs that he played on the air. He played at all his shows. He brought in all these groups to entertain the people. But it was teenage driven from the early 50s, and this music would start getting on the charts because of people like Alan Freed. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. I just want us to remember this great early guy. Unfortunately, he got caught up in the payola scandal near the end, ruined his career, but he was an awesome figurehead for early rock and roll that he coined. So thank you very much. I hope that I'll have Karen back here as my host next time. So hope you enjoyed this tribute to Alan Freed, the first rock and roll hero, the first Pied Piper of rock and roll.